everyone, it's David here from Beyond the Kingdoms, and today I've got a brand new video packed with tips for your next trip to Walt Disney World. I recently uploaded my top tips if you're visiting the parks in Florida, specifically with a baby or toddler that's 3 and under. So today, we're taking a step up in age and looking at tips when traveling with kids who are 3 to 9. These are the real magical years to enjoy a family vacation at Disney World. But like always, some key tips will ensure your trip is extra special. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into today's video. First up are some practical notes and tips to know before you start planning your trip with your kids. Now, despite on what you may think, Disney defines kids as anyone between the ages of 3 and 9. That means once your kids hit 10 years old, they are officially an adult in the world of Disney prices. In terms of tickets, a kid's ticket is only about 5% cheaper than adult tickets. A one-day ticket to one of the theme parks starts at $109 for adults and only $104 for kids. I know it's a bummer that kids don't save more on park tickets, but where kids can really save money is on the Disney dining plan. All of the dining plans offered at Disney World cost between 50 to 60% less than it does for adults. Now, I know what you might be thinking. David, a 4-year-old doesn't eat nearly as much as an adult. Well, I've got more details later on how using that dining plan with kids can really save you some time and money. Tip number 2, know your height restrictions when it comes to attractions. If it's any age group where you have to take note on this, it's especially with kids that are between 3 and 6. Currently, there are 19 attractions in Walt Disney World that have some sort of height restriction. That may sound like a lot, but believe me, it's really not. Parks like Magic Kingdom have way more experiences without restrictions than the ones that do. But the magic number to know here is 40. Once kids hit 40 inches tall, they can experience 14 attractions out of that 19. Rides such as Splash Mountain, Slinky Dog Dash, and Test Track all have a 40-inch height requirement. So, if your trips to Disney World are few and far between, and you're debating at what point to take your kids to maximize your experience, wait until they hit 40 inches tall. They'll be able to get on nearly everything offered in the parks at Disney World. And if you're traveling with a mixed age group, make sure you watch my video on how rider swap works. It's a very helpful tool that will make sure everyone gets a chance to ride their favorite attraction. Now, speaking of height restrictions and rides at Disney World, tip number 3 is one that I think gets easily forgotten. Ease your kids into the thrill rides. It's important to know that every kid is different. Some daring 4 or 5-year-old may be brave enough and tall enough to get on Tower of Terror, but not all of them will. I think in order to not ruin your vacation, it's worth building your itinerary with this in mind. And just go easy on the kids. If it's their first time going on some roller coasters, do 7 Dwarfs well before you try something like Rock and Roller Coaster. I recently was in line at 7 Dwarfs in Fantasyland, and a parent asked me how intense the attraction was. I assured them that it was a very mild experience before she admitted to me that her kid's first coaster was Expedition Everest. The poor guy seemed pretty scarred from that experience, and he spent most of his time in line at 7 Dwarfs really nervous. It all worked out well for him in the end, but it taught me a valuable lesson. Remember to walk before you can run. Next up, let's take a look at some characters. As I mentioned in my top 10 tips for babies and toddlers video, some of the big plush characters can be a little intimidating for the really little ones. However, I find that once kids hit the age of 3, all of that changes. Again, every kid is different, but something seems to shift once kids move past 3 years old. They seem to no longer be scared of the big fluffy characters, and they especially love spending time with face characters. Kids at this age can communicate much more and will enjoy asking their favorite princesses some deep, insightful questions. When you're traveling with kids between 3 and 9, I think you'll find that characters become a big priority. So it's really worth investing the time doing this before they get too big and grow out of it. Of course, this will become a challenge when choosing FastPass reservations, especially at Magic Kingdom, where a FastPass for Princess Fairy Tale Hall can be just as important as Space Mountain. For that, I say check out my FastPass Plus strategies videos for all 4 parks. But something else to consider at this age is character dining. This can become a great way to save time in that you can meet several characters in one go, all with a meal. This will free up valuable park time, but this of course takes me to tip number 5. Use the Disney dining plan to its maximum to save money for the kids. I know, we can have an endless debate on whether the dining plan is worth your money or not. There are tons of factors: where you eat, how much you eat, and if you score that coveted free dining plan promo. But if it's one thing I'm sure about with the dining plan, is that kids can really save a lot of money if you use the plan well. In fact, even if you think the adult price is not worth it, the kids can save enough to even out the whole situation. For example, the regular dining plan for 2019 costs $28 per night for kids 3 to 9. That includes 1 table service meal, 1 quick service meal, 2 snacks, and a refillable mug to use at the resorts. If you consider that at a typical table service restaurant, a kid's meal with a drink and a dessert on average will cost about $20. A quick service meal can cost around $12, so you can easily do the math and discover that you'll save some money. But on top of that, a character meal that counts as 1 table service credit can start as low as $30 and go as high as $50. Factor that with a quick service credit and some snacks, and you will really get ahead. So, depending on the restaurants you choose to dine at, the dining plan can really work to your advantage with the kids. Now, aside from the characters, entertainment, and of course attractions, kids will also enjoy a plethora of extra activities, some of which at no cost. So tip number 7 is to factor in some time to enjoy some of the smaller scale activities around the parks. 3 of the 4 parks offer some sort of high-tech scavenger hunt that kids will enjoy doing. Magic Kingdom has 2 in fact, with Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom and a Pirate's Adventure. Both involve signing up at a designated location to play the game, while you'll get a map and some playing cards to complete missions throughout the park. You'll trigger some fun special effects, take home some collectible cards, and sometimes even score a special prize. Over at Epcot, there are 2 different activities that kids can jump in on. The younger ones will enjoy the updated KidCot stations around World Showcase, while they'll learn about cultures of different countries and do some coloring on the side. And those who enjoy games like Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom will enjoy Phineas and Ferb Agent P's World Showcase adventure. This one is also free, and guests have to solve puzzles to complete their mission. This one can be played directly on the new Play Disney Parks app, and again, you'll trigger some fun special effects throughout the park. And finally, Animal Kingdom features the Wilderness Explorers activity. This one is a little bit low-tech, but this is very educational and fun for the little ones who enjoy animals. You'll first pick up a special handbook at headquarters on the bridge from the Oasis to Discovery Island. Then, throughout the entire park, you can collect Wilderness Explorer badges by completing different activities. And don't forget to meet Doug and Russell right in the heart of the park for a fun photo op. But if your kids are all about dressing up like their favorite Disney characters, then you may have to squeeze in other extras into your budget. Magic Kingdom is home to 3 different locations where kids can receive a special makeover and pretend they are their favorite prince, princess, pirate, mermaid, and more. But first of all, there's an oldie but a goodie right on Main Street, the barber shop. I know that some Disney fans use this place as a tradition to give their kids a little haircut. Who knew you could do this at Disney, right? This is definitely the more affordable makeover experience at Disney. A kid's cut is $18, and adults can even get a little trim at $19. But you can also opt to do the My First Haircut package. It obviously involves a haircut, but also comes with a special pair of commemorative Mickey ears, all for $25. And at that price, that's a Disney deal in my book. Now, I do recommend pre-booking this experience, and of course, I'll leave a link in the description below. But additionally, you can really start to push the boat out with a trip to the Pirates League if your little one is a big Pirates fan. And of course, who can leave out Bippity Boppity Boutique right inside Cinderella Castle, which is currently being expanded. Now, I know that packages here can really add up fast, but here's something to consider. Girls can do a mermaid package or Empress package at the Pirates League for only $45. That's a little less than the big princess makeovers at the boutique. And boys can really run away with the deal with the Knights package at the boutique at $19.99. I know that this completely goes against the stereotypical choices, but I think it's something different. But if your little one simply loves Disney princesses or wants a full makeover to transform into Captain Jack Sparrow, consider tip number 8. Keep your eyes open for discounts on costumes at your local Disney store to take with you to the park. When you look at pricing at Bippity Boppity Boutique, you'll notice that you can spend several $100s on the high-end packages. But this is simply to cover the cost of some of the princess dresses. So you can save a little money by purchasing the dress yourself when there's a sale at home and opting for a cheaper package at the boutique, one that just focuses on the hair and makeup. And remember to make a stop at Castle Couture in Fantasyland. Inside the shop, there's a small photo studio where all kids can pose for pictures in any costume. If you purchase Memory Maker, the photos will simply be added to your account, just like the rest. Okay, we're at the home stretch now at tip number 9. I've definitely talked about this before, but it's certainly worth bringing up again here. Know all of your options when it comes to the strollers. Even at this age, you're still going to be lugging around some strollers around the park. Luckily, since these kids are a little bit older, you're hopefully past the diapers and formula and all that, so it does get a little bit easier. It's worth comparing if it's better for you to rent a stroller or to bring your own. If you're driving, I always say to bring your own second-rate stroller. Leave the nice one at home. If you're renting a stroller, I think some third-party companies are the way to go, simply because they can be delivered to your hotel and they're more comfortable than the standard Disney ones. But like always, think about transportation with strollers. On Disney buses, you're going to have to fold them up before you board. And if you drive to the parks, again, you have to fold them before boarding the tram. So always know your options. And finally, we are at tip number 10. This one is simple, but important to remember. Definitely make sure you soak it all in. I think at this age, you'll enjoy everything Disney World has to offer at its complete fullest. Kids are old enough to sit through longer shows, and they hopefully have moved past their fear of big fluffy characters. I know I've said that you should feel no shame on taking a baby to Disney for the first time, and I stand by that. But if you wait until they're at least 5 years old, they can experience nearly everything. And at this point, they'll actually start to remember it too. Depending on your kid's interest, you'll also want to start dedicating a good amount of time at all of the parks. Once kids are tall enough to ride most of the attractions, you can easily spend 2 days at Magic Kingdom, 2 at Epcot, 1 full day at Animal Kingdom, and at least a full day and then some at Hollywood Studios, especially once Galaxy's Edge is open. This is the age that you can truly experience all the magic of a Disney family vacation. So there you go, my friends, my top 10 tips when traveling to Walt Disney World specifically with kids 3 to 9. If you have some tips of your own, feel free to share them in the comments section down below. But sadly, this is where I have to leave you for today. But like always, thank you so much for watching and being a fan of Beyond the Kingdoms. And until next time, remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.